Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's session, we are going to talk about how we can restart the approval flows. So as if you are following me, you have already seen that I have already did a couple of videos on approval flow, how to create approval flow and how to set the reminders for approval flows. So in this specific session, we will be seeing how we can restart the approval flow. When I say restart, so let's say if my moderator created one item and if he has already set a couple of approvers to it and the flow is already in process, but then moderator realized that okay, approver has to be changed, then the initial approver, the initial flow should be cancelled and the new flow should be created for the new approval cycle. So this we are going to learn or see in this session. So I am using the same approval demo list, which is having title, project, approvers and responses, due date and couple of other fields, that is sent for approval and status. This sent for approval is a yes and no column. So when you are done with entering your data, you will be setting just yes to start to initiate the approval. And I've already kept one column more, that is restart flow. And why this column would be used? This would be used to restart or cancel the previous instance and restart a new instance. And if we would not be cancelling the previous instance, then the previous instance would be in progress with the old approvers and they will keep on getting the reminders. So that's why we have to cancel the existing flow instance and then create a new instance altogether. So let's jump to the PowerAutomate. So I'm creating one instant flow cloud, and in trigger condition I'm using when item is created or modified, binding that to our list. And in the next step, I'll be initializing couple of variables which we are going to use later on. So this variable I'm saying restart flow, and I'll be keeping that as boolean, initial value is false. And in the next step I'll be using one condition, because if you have seen my earlier video as well, we actually checks for the condition of send for approval. If that is yes, then only the flow would start, otherwise it will be just skipped off. I'm using that send for approval variable. If that is equal to true, then we have this if yes branch, in that we'll be creating the task. And as well as I would also add one more condition, that is status. If status is open, if status value equals to, I need to check in my list what is that value, initial value. So whenever we say send for approval yes, then it should trigger, and as well as the status should be initial one open. So I'll just keep the value as open. So then only it will go to the yes branch. And in the yes branch, we are going to create the task, because start approval, start and wait for an approval, and this will create the task for us. And in this you can set the setting for this approval, so everyone must approve or first to respond, and based on your requirement you can set it. I'm just choosing everyone must approve, and you can just set these fields. So task for, you can pick up the title from the list, assigned to, it should be approver field, approver email, and it has automatically binded that to apply to each, because it's a multi people picker field in our list, this field. And later on we have to make a judgment that whether all the approvals are done or not. So we have to set the responses. So you can just go up back and initialize one more variable to capture the responses. So let's say I'm saying all responses, and it will be string, and we'll be just going back to our apply to each. So over here we'll be just appending. So once the approver task is done, then it will append to our existing string which we just initialized. So append to string variable, and it will be all response, and the value would be outcome of the start and wait for approval. So I'll just use the outcome. So that says approve and reject in outcomes. So it will keep appending. For example, I have 3 approvers. Then first is approve. So it will say approve, comma. Then second is approved as well. Then approve. And if last one is rejected, then it will contain reject. So once this apply to each branch is done, in next action, we'll be just setting the update. We'll be updating the item with the response. So we'll just use update, and we'll choose our list. ID is ID of that column. Title is title. Right? And because we have already set it up, so now in the status, in the responses, we'll just set our all responses variable, and in send for approval we'll be resetting it to no status value. So based on what the status is, we will be choosing approve and reject, and restarting will be just keeping as no. So as you see, I have just set that as approved, but before that we have to use the condition. So in condition we'll be checking what is there in outcome. I'll be choosing all responses contains reject, then the outcome would be rejected. Will be updating. Right now I'm just pushing that to yes, so that means it does not if it does not contain reject, that means it's approved. So you can see I've set it as approved. And the same thing we're going to do. I'm just copying that to clipboard, and in the separate branch, this no branch, will be setting that up. We'll be setting that up. Let me just find that out. Update item and do the same process for reject branch. Just binding it to our list. Now in the responses, we'll be setting up the responses, and in the status we'll be setting as rejected because this got rejected, and everything will be set to no. And the same should be here, and approved. Yeah, so now we are done. We actually captured the responses as well. So now the normal flow part has been done. We are just looking at the item and waiting for the stars, and based on the outcomes we are setting approved or rejected. So I'm just saving it. So now this will work for a normal flow where we want the approvers to approve and reject and capture the responses. Now the second part which we are going to discuss today is how to restart the existing flow, or how to cancel the previous instance and then create a new instance if the approval got changed. So that is our objective. And why I'm covering that, because it's pretty much practical. It happens after creation of item. We realizes that okay, approvers has to be changed. This item should be going to different set of approvers. So rather than filling out the again with all the fields, creating a new item, you can just have one restart flow flag which can say that okay, so we want to restart this flow, or we want to re-trigger this flow. So based on this condition, this yes and no, will be creating one parallel branch. So I'm just going back to my this flow. So before that, because this flow has been triggered, now we are in this condition, we are creating this task. So before that, we have to update the status, because for the positive status for equal to 1, it will go into this. But next time we don't want this to trigger off. So we'll be setting this status as in progress before to apply to each. So I'll be just adding one update item. And we are going to just set the status as in progress. So that's it, nothing more than that. Title will be bind to title of cat item when item is created. And yep, so in this status value we'll be just setting that as in progress, because it's waiting for our flow, and everything would be set to no. And I'll just move this condition to top, or let's say I'm just moving the other condition to beneath. So first thing, when the flow will get triggered, it will update the item, and then it will wait for this. It will start doing the task creation process. So is this update item, we are just setting it for so that it should not trigger or should not go into the infinite loop when because this item would get modified when we update the item. So it should not go to the process this if condition again. So that's why we are setting this send for approval as no over here and status value as in progress. Alright, so the positive part we are done. Now we have to create one parallel branch to check whether it is required to restart the workflow or not. Based on that, this condition, which is the last one, restart flow condition. So I am going to PowerAutomate, and over here I am creating one parallel condition. So I am creating one parallel branch over here. Add a parallel branch, and in this parallel branch what I am going to do, I am going to have one do until loop which will keep checking for my this flag, that is restart flow, and it will keep checking for that true value. If that gets true value, that means like we have to cancel the existing instance which is running instance of this flow and create a new instance with the new approver set of approvers. So that we are going to do. I'm using do until, and we'll be doing it for till restart flow gets equal to. So this equal to is coming as disabled. If you click on its advanced condition and then back to basic condition, it will get enabled. So is equal to value true. So this equals to variable is equal to 2, then this flow would exit, this do until loop would exit. And we have to change the limits for this do until, because by default limits is set to, it will be executed just 60 times, so you have to increase it. You can reach the maximum of 5000. I'm just saying 4900. It should the number of times this do until loop should execute. And as well as in the R condition, because this flow can be running for long, so you can set the maximum R condition for waiting, that is 28 days. So the timeout would be 28 days. So after that, this do until loop would get timeout. And in the next condition, we are going to get the item, because practically when this flow is in progress, so if you visualize, if you envision that this flow is in progress, then you would not get the restart value as updated one, because this would be capturing the old value. For example, restart flow column was set to no, so it will keep on having that no value. So again we have to query it. So we have to query it, get item, and we have to again bind that to the approval demo list, and the ID we have to. Now we got this item, and in the next step we'll be updating the variable. We'll set the variable which we created earlier, restart workflow, with the value which we got from previous step. So restart flow is the value which we got from the previous step. So now when the person sets that to true after it gets to in progress, then the value gets updated over here. So we got our value updated. So now consider scenario. So and restart flow is right now is false, so it will keep on in this loop. When some person changes that to true, then it will set that as true, and post that we have to use one delay so that it can delay for that specific time, delay until, or you can directly use delay. So every 1 minute it will be checking for it, and it will be pausing for every 1 minute. So why we want to have that in place? Because this 4900 count will be soon expire. So you have to like make that a longer duration so that you can make it. So for example, if you want to like ping every 1 minute, then you can keep it 1 minute. Otherwise, keep it 2 minutes, 5 minutes, like based on your flow or your business needs. So this is done. So and do until part is done. So after do until, what we are going to do is we are going to decide like whether we should cancel the existing instance or not. So we are going to use the condition, and in this condition we'll be checking for that restart flow variable is equal to true. So that means we have to cancel it. So in the if branch we'll be just using terminate control. So in this we'll be just saying cancel the existing one because the approver has changed. We want a fresh start of this flow, so cancel this one. And as well as we would like to update the item so that while triggering it should meet to this condition which we set earlier. This sign for approval true and sign status equal to open. So we'll be updating the item and have those conditions in place so that next time it should trigger, it should create the task. So I'm just going back to my list. I'm setting the title, required field. Alright, so I'm just setting, okay, send for approval. I would say yes because I would like to trigger a fresh one, and the status value I'm just keeping that as open, and restart flow I'm keeping that as no. Right, so this part is also done, but after terminate it would not execute it, so we have to keep the terminate as below, and we'll be updating the item as at first time. So we are done. So I'm just checking. So it is showing flow checker as red. So let's see what is there. Okay, so because we are using multiple update fields, and those are all are bind in do until or apply to each, so it's saying you should be validate that it should not go into an infinite loop. So that's fine. We are sure that it will not go. So I'm just saving it and just giving it an item approval flow restart demo. Okay, so now we'll just go to our list, and now I'm going to create that fresh item demo 1. The fields you can specify for initial approval. I'm just setting my name. You can have the multiple approvers as well, because as I show you that it will bind that in the apply to each, so everyone would get a task. And I am setting sign for approval yes, status would be open. Right now for first time we would not be restarting it, so your business user should be aware about that. When they are changing the approvals, then only they need to set that as yes. So right now just saving it, so it should trigger our flow So it may take 30 to 60 seconds. Let's pause it over here. Okay, so our flow is running and I just get into it. So it's waiting, it's waited for creating our task. It went to this condition. Right now it's waiting for approver to approve the task. So I should be getting one. So task for demo, yes, this is the mail. So consider like I got the email, but suddenly then that moderator who created that task or that approval item realized that okay, this item should not be going to this person. So he can just go back over here and in the approver he can just remove and I can just add any other my colleague's name, and I would like to resend this item for the approval rather than filling everything again, just changing the approval and then setting that as yes. So once that is set yes, because this flow has already created task for me, so I don't want, if I am having that reminder logic in place, then I don't want this previous approver to buzz for approving task which is no more valid. So that is why we are in this parallel branch, we are checking for that restart and cancelling the existing one, so that this previous approver should not be getting reminders or should not be required to work on his task. So we'll just wait to get that completed. So we just set it's under do until, as we put up the delay of 1 minute, so it will take 1 minute of time to complete this branch and then cancel the flow. Okay, so it executed the do until branch and it went to this yes condition and it executed the terminate as well. So I just went back to the running history. So if you see it, the initial instance got cancelled, as in do until we got that restart flow as true, and that's why it's got cancelled. In the second one it's still running, this instance is running for the new approver, and the third instance which you see succeed is just because this flow is in progress, that's why this condition got exited. So if I just open that condition, it's false and it went to that terminate part. So that's why we added that condition for checking the status of the flow as well. So if the status of the flow is open, then only this would go to create the task, otherwise it's just skip it up. So that's why this last status is just skipping that execution, and this second one is running for the new instance. And just one quick tip, because it happened with me earlier as well, that under the do until loop, so as you see, like we were setting the delay at the last, and so it behaved kind of like weird, though the logic was same. So it's fine, it's good to set the delay at the first initial step itself rather than at the last after setting variable, so that it can delay and after 1 minute it should fetch up the item so that updated value can be set. So this is the quick tip which I would like to give to you, and I hope you understand the entire point, like how to initiate the flow and then for the new approvers just cancel the old instance, have the new instance in place and have your new approver to work on the new task. So that's the entire point. So if you still have any confusion or questions, then do drop your comments, and also if you like the video, do drop a like and subscribe to my channel. So that's it for today. We'll catch up later. Thank you. Bye.